Ooh, welcome back to another episode of the Get Back Coach, presented by Apollo Media. It's Bloody Monday, folks. The coaching carousel goes around and around and around. We are going to recap week 14, talk about who's in the hunt, FCS playoffs, and do a little preview for our championship weekend. But Jay, first things first, tell them who we are brought to you by.
And folks, we are so happy to be partnered with BattleBets for this season. Coming down to the end of it, we're into the postseason now, but it's still a great time to download BattleBets. Let them know that we sent you by selecting the Get Back Coach as your referrer in the ambassador section. It's a free fantasy gambling app, so that means no money involved, just fake money, but you can place all the bets you want. Brag on your college football knowledge to your friends. Again, let them know that we sent you when you download the app by selecting us as your referrer in the ambassador section. Jake, let's get into it.
Yes, and it is Bloody Monday, and oh boy, do we have news in the coaching carousel. I think we have to start off with Lane Kiffin to LSU. That is the big story coming from the weekend. Lane Kiffin is leaving Ole Miss in a very complex situation. He was 55-19 at Ole Miss, probably putting together some of their best seasons in recent memory. Ole Miss accepted him, even though he's had a spotty track record for drama. And now Lane Kiffin does what Lane Kiffin does. He leaves them for LSU. But Jay, this is a little bit more complex of a situation than him just saying, adios, I'm out of here.
Yeah, you have a lot of moving parts here with the playoff. You're going to an in-conference rival, really. You have the Magnolia Bowl there between LSU and Ole Miss. And you're leaving as the team, again, is going into the playoff. Like, this is a tough decision. I will say that I think LSU is probably a top 1, 2, 3 job in the country because you're in a power conference. You are in a recruit-rich state. And you don't have another Power 5 team to compete against within the state for those recruits. So I get it. Like, I would probably make the same decision too. I would leave Ole Miss for LSU. I think this process was a little more dragged out than it needed to be. I get him wanting to coach this team through the playoffs, and Ole Miss, I also get their side of saying no. I mean, this was never going to be a clean break. Let's be honest here. Like, this was always going to get super messy. And with Lane Kiffin involved, it was always going to get even more messy. You look at the way he left Tennessee. By the way, Ole Miss and Tennessee both on the schedule for LSU next year. Going to be interesting receptions there. I don't know. I'd have to check where the games are. But you have to imagine there's going to be some drama surrounding those games. Pete Golding is, I think, not even just the interim. Like, I think they named him.
They hired him.
Okay, yeah. He's the head coach now. Mississippi. Went to school at Delta State, by the way. So he has a lot of experience with the state. Was a defense coordinator, obviously. I think it was a split between the offensive and defensive staffs as far as how the split went. But yeah, this has been the biggest story. I mean, yeah, poor Marty Smith was out there, it felt like, for ages. I mean, he was like a detective doing a stakeout for 24 hours trying to get the scoop on that. Shout out to Marty Smith for all his work. But yeah, I mean, it's a messy situation, but that's kind of the way this business goes now.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I understand, like, if I was in Lane's shoes, 100% I would want to take the LSU job over Ole Miss. And I don't think reasonable people are mad at him for that. I just think it's, hey, you finally get into the playoff. You should have went to the playoff last year with the team you had. Now you finally get into the playoff, and now you're leaving. And Lane wanting to stay, say, hey, let me stay for the playoff run, and then after I'll go to LSU. And it sounds like LSU was fine with that. But Ole Miss was saying, well, no, you're not going to leave. Like, or sorry, if you're either going to stay here and coach this team, or if you're gone, then go. I kind of understand it. I feel really bad for the players because, again, that offensive staff, Lane I think the big part with Lane is him giving his assistant coaches an ultimatum. Also, again, this is the rumor of him saying, "Hey, if you're not on this flight, you're not getting hired." Charlie Weiss Jr. was the guy that was spotted. Oh, by the way, Ole Miss fans went to the airport to boo and jeer and yell.
And tell
Even
Lane he's number one.
Yes, to tell Laney's number one. I also saw a lady there with like a 2-year-old on her hip, and I was like, "What is going on?" I think our guy John Patterson was the first one to notice that one. But it's man, again, it's stories like this where I love college football, but it's also like this is out of like this is just in another stratosphere of crazy. And Jay, here the other thing we have to talk about here regarding the situation is this: someone needs to figure out the schedule of this, and I think that is kind of the reason for all of this. And I've always said, why don't we just make week 0 week 1? Make week 0 week 1, and then after championship weekend, at least it prolongs until after championship weekend. Or, and I know you have to stay with the semesters and everything like that, but can't we push back signing day? Can't we push everything back until like, I don't know how far we can actually push it back to. Can we push it back to Christmas or New Year's Day? Is that possible?
No, just because of the way the schools are wired, I don't think that'll ever happen. And I mean, in our day, like signing day, there was one signing day. It was February. That's when everybody signed. Nowadays, I just think you have so many kids that are going to enroll at the semester instead of waiting until summer and going through that. Like, I think there's so many early enrollees. There's everything with the transfer portal, which I think should be one window after spring ball, personally. But I think the toothpaste ain't going back in the tube on that one. So we're kind of in the situation that we're in. Would be nice to have the calendar a little bit more sorted, but until that happens, and it probably won't ever happen, we're going to keep having scenarios like this with the college coaches.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be some way where all this can happen after the season or before the Final Four.
Yeah.
Like if it's right before the Final Four, or like, hey, okay, then I think it would just be better. I don't know if, again, I don't think we can do that with everything going on, with how everything is set up. Smarter people than us, Jay, should be able to figure this out. And I think, one, you move up the season 1 week early, and two, find some way to have signing day and find some way for the transfer portal window and everything before classes resume.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with it, but it's been a mess.
So last thing before we get into our next one, whose fault is it more for the fiasco? We set it out as a poll, Jay. Lane or Ole Miss?
In my opinion, it's Lane, right?
Yeah.
Like I think, if we're assigning blame beyond just the system, like
It's Lane.
you have a team, you build up a roster, you're going to the playoff, and you have a chance to compete. Like, I think this team's good enough to make a run. I don't know if they're going to win the whole thing, but I think the roster was good enough to make a run. And you leave. And again, like, I don't blame anybody for taking that LSU job.
Nope.
Because I think it is going to be one of the best jobs in the country, no matter what. You're always going to recruit well there. You're always going to have so much talent coming in. But yeah, just the theatrics around it, like, and maybe it was him having a difficult time with the decision. Like, maybe that's the case. But the thing is, you're Lane Kiffin. You don't get the benefit of the doubt.
No. I said it's him with the theatrics and the drama. I was like, this is like if you marry a serial cheater and you're like, hey, everything's good and happy and so wonderful. And like after a couple years of marriage, you find them in bed with someone else. And now it's like, well, and it's like the most toxic, unhinged divorce possible. And it's like, well, you kind of knew going in.
Yeah.
You kind of knew going in.
I can fix him. I can fix him.
Oh, and he's our guy, and it's great. And man, it's Oh, Lane. Villain. Talk about a villain arc.
Hey, he's a great heel.
He
Always
is a
will be.
great heel, and LSU is now, I think, turned into public enemy number one in everyone's eyes. All right, let's move on. You ready
Yep.
to move on, Jay? Let's
Let's
go
move
on to the
on.
next. Let's go on to the next one.
John Sumrall is going to be your new Florida coach. He is leaving Tulane. Tulane is allowing him to finish the season, by the way.
Yep.
Not the only coach on this list that we're going to talk about that is being allowed to finish the season. Well, I guess we've already talked about Eric Morris, so never mind. But John Summerall, I mean, 42-11 at Tulane, and Troy has done a great job at both places. I mean, it feels like a great hire for the Gators. They just kind of need some stability there. You know, I think some people are questioning going back to the Sun Belt after you just had Billy Napier. But John Summerall is a very different kind of guy. He has that defensive coordinator experience. And again, I think this is the way you want to hire now. Get you a guy that has a defensive background, but who is willing to bring in good young offensive minds, let them do their thing. And I think Summerall's going to fit that to a T in Gainesville.
Yeah. I mean, and I know Florida fans are looking at Summerall because Summerall and Billy Napier have very similar resumes. If you just put their wins and losses side by side from Troy and Tulane, it looks very similar. However, Tulane and the American Conference way better than the Sun Belt. No offense to our Sun Belt people, but Tulane or Summerall 4-4 in conference berths. He did have 2 Sun Belt titles and then another American title on top of that. 42-11. Listen, we've always said we like John Summerall. Let's see how it works. Again, with the group of 5 coaches, I think it's a bit of a crapshoot, but you're getting a good coach.
Yeah.
Okay, you're getting a good coach, and I do like this. I do like this hire.
Yeah. Sticking with the SEC, Alex Golish to Auburn. He was 23-15 at South Florida. That may not seem that impressive on the surface, but when you look at what South Florida was before Alex Golish got there and completely revitalized that program, super impressive performance from him there. Obviously, they were a lot of fun to watch this year. Byron Brown, everything he did there. Hopefully going to improve the offense at Auburn. Can't be much worse than it was this past season. You still have some weapons there. We'll see how the roster sticks together, but I think that, again, this is a solid hire by Auburn.
Yeah, solid hire. I think where Auburn is right now in the pecking order of the SEC, I think this is a good hire. I like this hire a lot better than the Hugh Freeze one. I think we both do. And again, Golish has a bit of an edge to him, and I think that's good for Auburn. And again, what he did at USF, I know it's, you look at the record and you're like, yeah, is it that good? USF was in a rough spot, and they built, and then this year they were one of the best teams in the American. So, and already beat Florida. So, I mean, it's, I do like it, and I do think Auburn can get back to going 8-4, 9-3, and then hopefully take that next step. But I think they can get back to that national relevance with Alex Golish.
Yeah, and I think Alex Kirshner of Split Zone Duo had this, but he's like, Alex Golish is a relatively, compared to other college football coaches, and certainly the ones that Auburn has hired, a relatively normal guy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you have Hugh Freeze and Brian Harsin in there who had their own quirks about them. Alex Golish, I think, just wants to coach football, and I think that'll be good for the program.
It will. Next up, Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas, and Razorbacks fans are not happy. They were protesting. I think this is a peculiar hire in a peculiar situation. We've liked Ryan Silverfield. Okay. We thought he did a good job at Memphis. The problem that I have with Silverfield is that Memphis this year kind of fell apart, and other years I feel like they should have been better than what their record was. So that's why I'm a little skeptical. However, you have a little bit better resources at Arkansas, but you don't have the best ones in the SEC. Arkansas is a tough job. So I don't know how this one is going to pan out. I'm not saying this is this is definitely not a home run hire. I think it's an okay hire that has potential.
Yeah, the reason that the Razorback fans are so concerned about this one is you look at Memphis and the way they spent in the American compared to some of the other programs,
Mhm.
and Memphis was probably the top spender in the
Yeah.
American. And they were always at the top of the conference. Like Ryan Silverfield did not have bad years there coaching the Tigers. But at the same time, they never really lived up to the expectation of the biggest spender in the conference.
Right.
And now you're going to a place where Arkansas has money, but they, I think, in my opinion, are more concerned with winning basketball and baseball titles at this stage than they are with
Mhm.
football. And they've kind of realized like what the uh, difficulty of spending money and converting that to football success is,
Mhm.
and they see how good they are on the baseball diamond, right? Like Van Horn and like that squad has been incredible for a long time now. You look at the basketball squad, obviously hiring Calipari.
Mhm.
Uh, I think Memphis, Memphis has a history as a basketball school, but I think the investment into the football program is a larger percentage of the athletic budget than it will be at Arkansas.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Again, I think Ryan Silverfield is a good coach. I also didn't think Arkansas had a ton of options here.
Mhm.
Uh, so we'll see how it plays out. I'm kind of taking a wait and see approach with this one. I think Golish and Summerall were the better group of 5 to SEC hires.
Mhm.
But I do think Silverfield is not just a complete mess.
No.
Of course, we'll see how it plays out because we always know how it goes, right? Like
Yeah.
you never know how this is going to happen, how it's going to shake out after these guys get there. Every home run hire that we've predicted has ended up being just
Yeah.
tanking. Everyone that we were like kind of skeptical of ends up working out, except for I think like Trent Dilfer, who we were out
Yeah.
on from the
We
start.
were out on him from the start, but then we were like Billy Napier. Yes, like this
Yeah.
is huge for
Scott
Florida.
Frost, like when Scott Frost first went to Nebraska, I was like,
Mhm.
that makes so much sense. Home
That
run
makes
hire.
sense.
Luke Fickle at Wisconsin, like
Yeah.
it is so hard to predict how these things are going to go.
Yeah. I think there's so much more. And that's why I hate when people say, well, they're just not a good coach. Like, no, like these guys know more about football than, like, they've forgotten more about football than I will never know, than more than
Yeah.
the average person knows. Um, and Jay, I know you're very knowledgeable. I feel like I have a good grasp of the game as well. But, sometimes things just don't work out, and this is top tier um, football on our hands, so a lot of things need to happen, to be successful. So speaking of a lot of things needing to happen to be successful, Michigan State fires Jonathan Smith. Oh, another guy where we were like, hey, great hire,
Yeah.
Michigan State. Like what he did in Corvallis was huge. Maybe he should have stayed there. I understand why leaving. So they fired Jonathan Smith, and within 12 hours, they hire Pat Fitzgerald. So, Jay, before I give you the floor, here's the thing with Pat Fitzgerald. Do I think Pat Fitzgerald is a good football coach? Yes, I do. I think he is one of the better defensive minds in the game. He was involved in a hazing scandal. He has been cleared of that, sued, and has been cleared. I know you already winced. I already know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. He has been cleared. But you had the Mel Tucker situation. You have the rumors around things possibly being shady around D'Antonio. You know, you have the
Nasser, dude.
you
Like,
have the Nasser thing. I if it was anywhere else, I would be like, you know what? Give him a shot. But you had all of those things happening. Okay. I thought if he was a defensive coordinator somewhere first, fine. He's not the leader of your program. Let him get back some goodwill and then go. Now, I'm going to talk about football for a second, Jay, before I give it to you. What he did at Northwestern is impressive. Here's the thing. Look at Northwestern's last 2 years. Yes, 2020 they were, 10th in the country. They was like 7-2. The last 2 years at Northwestern, they were awful. Like they were kind of looking to push him out. And I'm afraid that's the Pat Fitzgerald you're going to get. You're going to get the Pat Fitzgerald that you saw the last 2 years at Northwestern.
Yeah. So I'll start off this by saying that I was very close to going to Northwestern.
Yeah.
I was very close to playing for Pat Fitzgerald. Really close to being a Big Ten guy instead of an SEC guy.
Would have liked you a lot better.
Here's my thing with the hazing scandal and everything that happened. So Pat Fitzgerald was cleared, but I think as a head coach, you have a responsibility to know what's happening within the walls of your program. So he may have been cleared by the courts, but I just think you have to be so vigilant as someone running a program that you should know what's happening. And if there is any hint of something like this going on within your walls, you take care of it immediately. Like you don't let it get to the point where there's investigations. And maybe he didn't know, but that's a problem in itself, in my opinion. As for the football side of things, again, like I think the big appeal, for me at least, having Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern when he was there, he was a Northwestern guy who was able to sell the culture of Northwestern in such a unique way that made him a perfect fit there. He's not going to sell the Michigan State culture the same way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
you can't.
That big appeal, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I get what Michigan State's trying to do. You know, you kind of want to get back to just like Midwest all roots, do your thing, but this just feels like a reach here. I don't think this is going to work out very well. And I'm also disappointed given what we've already talked about with Michigan State and the issues that this program in particular, this university in particular, has had, to not have more insight into how this hire would be received.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I totally get it. Totally get it. On a lighter note, Bob Chesney, who we've been kind of keeping our eye on, goes to UCLA. I think this is a slam dunk hire. I think this is a home run hire. He has won everywhere. He's also stuck around at places. He was 4 or 5 years at Assumption, at Holy Cross, built up those programs, 2 years at James Madison. And I know what you're going to say, Myers. You know, James Madison is one of the top teams in the group of 5. Yeah. But Kurt Cignetti, when he left, took all their good players, and he had to rebuild James Madison again. 9 wins. Now we're double-digit wins. I think this is a slam dunk hire. I wish Penn State would have entertained him more. But I think this is a great spot for him. I think he's going to have a long leash so he can build, and I think this fits.
I'm a little bit worried about just like where he's from, his recruiting base, where he spent most of his time coaching, obviously on the East Coast and then going out to the West Coast. But I think like what he was able to do, like you mentioned, Kurt Cignetti taking most of his roster to Indiana when he left James Madison, and the fact that Bob Chesney was able to get that thing going without skipping a beat makes me think that, you know, UCLA, he can get it done out there too. I do think it's going to be more of a process. We'll see how long it takes him, just because the Big Ten is going to be difficult. UCLA, you have a program in city, not just in state, but in city, who's going to compete with you pretty hard and has the upper hand right now in USC. But I'm a big fan of what Bob Chesney has done everywhere he's been. And I'm really interested to see if he can get this thing going at UCLA. Because if he can, that would be a lot of fun to watch some late season games between UCLA and USC with some big time stakes where you have the battle for LA rage, and we'll see. I'm not as full slam dunk hire on this as you are, Jake.
Okay,
but I do think this is a good hire for UCLA.
Yeah, maybe it's my PA bias with Bob Chesney that is doing that there. All right, last up on our coaching carousel, Mark Stoops is fired at Kentucky. Here's the thing, Jay. Mark Stoops did a good job of getting Kentucky relevant. From 2016 until 2023. They did not have or they had only one losing season. They won 10 games in 2021, but he was always in that 7-win range, 8-win range with one really good year. So I think they were trying, because these last 2 years have been particularly bad, pretty much ever since he was linked to the A&M job and never went.
Wild.
Yes, kind of a good thing that your people rebelled there as hard as they did. Here's the thing. Mark Stoops was very good for Kentucky. It just it ran its course. You need to change. You need something new. So I'm not surprised by this. I'm surprised because that was today, which we're recording Monday night. And already Will Stein is already being mentioned and is looking like the offensive coordinator for Oregon. Will Stein will be the next head football coach at Kentucky. Not official, but that's where everything is kind of pushing at this time.
Yeah, and I don't know like if it's going to work out. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of moving parts here. If they did hire him, I think that would be a fantastic hire for Kentucky. Just get a bright offensive guy in there. It's kind of what Kentucky was before Stoops got there, right? Like with Stoops, Kentucky has been this kind of defensive, run the ball. But you look back in the day, and you know you had like Tim Couch at Kentucky, Jared Laurent, like they were known for kind of airing it out. And I wonder if they're going to get back to a little bit of that identity if Will Stein is the guy. Either way, though, just kind of felt like the writing was on the wall with a couple of bad seasons, and then again getting blown out by a rival last game of the year. You lose those types of games, the boosters move on quickly. One guy that I don't know if we talked about yet, Jim Mora to Colorado State.
Oh yes.
Haven't mentioned this one. I mean, we've been talking about Colorado State as a sleeping giant of a program for a while. Obviously, we saw what Mora has done at UConn. If he can replicate that at Colorado State, the money's going to come in. Going to be really interesting to watch them in the new Pac-12.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing with what he did at UConn. The schedule was particularly easy, but you're still winning games at UConn. Like you're still winning games at UConn, fun, and probably the best UConn team since Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
Like so what he was able to do there, I think it's going to be harder for him to do that in the Mountain West because you have a lot of
it'll be the new Pac-12 too.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's the new Pac-12. Sorry.
It's gonna be hard to keep track of it.
Yeah, I know it really is. You just said it. But yeah, we've been talking about Colorado State as a sleeping giant. I think this is a good hire. We were kind of in on Jay Norvell. So again, we're gonna have to see how this goes. But Jim Moore Jr., he has West Coast. Yeah, he has West Coast ties, right?
He was at UCLA for forever.
He's at UCLA for forever, right? So yeah, that works for me. Yeah, that definitely works. Is there anyone else? I think
we've probably missed somebody else at some point. I mean, I don't know if
we did talk Eric Morris. We talked.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure we've talked Eric Morris to Oklahoma State. Great hire.
I love it. Love it. If we didn't, absolutely love it. I think it's great. I think that's as perfect of a fit I think that you can have. You know, high-powered offense. That's what Oklahoma State was based on. They're probably going to take Messamaker, right?
Messamaker, yeah.
Messamaker with them. Yeah, I love it. So now let's get into the recap.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we have to, Jay, and we're gonna have to rip the band-aid. We're gonna rip the band-aid right off.
All right.
Texas beats A&M 27-17, down 2 scores with about 6 minutes to go. Jay, Marcel Reed, I feel like reverts back to forcing throws. It just taking more chances. But what did you see?
Yeah, disappointing, obviously, end of the season for A&M. You never want to lose to a rival, certainly not when you have a perfect season and an SEC championship berth on the line. But you do fall to the Longhorns 27-17. A&M was up 10-3 at halftime. I feel like the story all year for A&M has been their second half adjustments and the way they're able to pull away from teams in the second half. I felt like the opposite in this game. Felt like they were kind of carrying momentum into halftime, and then Texas comes out and kind of just flips the script. And it's not something we've seen happen against A&M in the second half this year once. Like that has not been the case at all. I think A&M got away from some of their pressures on Arch Manning. I think they got away from some of their exotics, some of their blitz packages, and that was part of the problem. I think the run fits were bad. Texas was able to break off some big runs, which they really haven't done against anyone this year. So that's concerning. I think, it's not like A&M was getting blown off the ball, but you have linebackers peeking into the wrong gap. And Jake, you know this. You get your eyes in the wrong gap, and that running back's by you in an instant. And that was what I saw that allowed Texas to gash A&M on Friday. And then, like you mentioned, I think Marcel just started trying to force throws a little bit there towards the end. 2 interceptions to close out the game. Tough loss, but you still have a lot to play for. So you move forward, try to clean up those mistakes, rest, get healthy. I think this may be a blessing in disguise, avoiding the SEC championship. Right, you get that extra week to kind of get you guys healthy without getting them banged up there in Atlanta. So we'll see. One of the things going into the season, I was talking about how as A&M kept winning, I needed to see how they responded to losses. Those losses never came until now. so now we'll see how they respond in the playoff coming off that first loss of the year.
Yeah, Texas ends up rushing for 218 yards on the ground. I think that is kind of the stat of the game. Like you said, I don't think people realize, like, when you're reading, guard to back, one wrong step, one miscalculation in an instant, and now you're pinned, you're washed down, and now there's a running lane. So you really, really have to study film. You really, really have to, just be able to read effectively, especially against an offensive line that's going to get second level on you. But yeah, here's the thing. You said a blessing in disguise. They're probably also going to play in the first round and host a game. I think that's huge because we saw it last year. That rust, all those teams that had buys ended up losing, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. All those teams that had buys ended up losing. So I can definitely see this kind of being almost a blessing in disguise for A&M. But if it was one team you didn't want to lose to, I don't have to sell that to you. Like,
no.
It hurt. I know that one hurts you, to that team, to that fan base. But A&M is they're still going to live to see another day, and hopefully this one works out for them. Georgia wins clean, old-fashioned hate, 16-9 against Georgia Tech. Georgia dominates in the trenches, Jay, but I don't want to say they out-physicaled Georgia Tech. Like, Georgia Tech came to play. I just think Georgia just was a better team. King did pass for more yards, over 100 more yards than Gunnar Stockton. I think an early pick deterred that a little bit. But anyway, Georgia wins. But Georgia Tech, very good showing. Again, Georgia wins the trenches, but not out-physicaled.
Yeah. That Pitt loss really stings for Georgia Tech now. I don't have too much to add to this game. I think you talked about it. Like, Georgia was better than trenches. Georgia Tech put on a great showing. They showed how physical they are. That's been the hallmark of this team this whole season. Really fun to watch, but Georgia just has too much at the skill positions. Just a little bit of an edge there, and that's kind of the way it goes. Moving on to Saturday. Ohio State finally gets the proverbial monkey off the back with the win over Michigan, 27-9. A little bit of snow in Ann Arbor.
Oh, beautiful!
Which was I love seeing that. We had a few of those games on Saturday, but I think this is kind of what we've been expecting Ohio State to do for the past few years. Like, Michigan excels running the ball, but Ohio State is just so much better at the skill positions, in my opinion. Finally, Ohio State just kind of takes it over. That defense is so good for the Buckeyes. Just a really fun unit to watch. They play incredible ball. Caleb Downs, one of the best players in the game. Big win for Ohio State, and pretty much ends Michigan's, or it does end Michigan's playoff hopes.
Yeah, this was an elimination game for Michigan. And listen, they jump out to that start. They have a really good start, and you're kind of thinking, oh, no, Is this going to happen again? But once Ohio State settled in, I feel like they just played Ohio State football. If we're going to outskill you on the outside, we have two great receivers. They kind of got a little bit of a gif. It's the worst rule in football with the touchback. But even like he was cradle. Every time I see a potential touchback, Jay, it's always total fumble out of bounds. That was the first time I can remember a guy going over and not having full control of the ball. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. I'm glad it wasn't overturned.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be overturned. Like it was not fully out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, second half adjustments. Wolverines had a difficult time in the second half, and Ohio State just kind of smothered them and wore them down at the end. But Jay, can I talk about Michigan for a second?
Go ahead.
Because I don't want to sit here and stick up for Ohio State because I really don't like them. I hate everything about them. But Michigan players guarding the M and Ohio State celebrating with their team and Ryan Day pretty much like, yeah, we were never going to plant a flag at the middle of the field or on the M or anything like that, I think is kind of embarrassing for Michigan, if I'm being honest, because it's just like you are worried about planning the flag plant. Ohio State doesn't care to do it. Like they were too cool to like, yeah, we're not going to plant a flag. Like this doesn't mean that to us. Like we're just going to celebrate with our fans. Good job by both coaches, making sure nothing crazy happened at the end. But yeah, I think this is the best rivalry in college football.
It's one of them.
I know. Alabama, Auburn's up there, but I don't know. I just feel like this.
Well, I think Alabama, Tennessee is even better than Alabama, Auburn. Depending on who you talk to. OU, Texas, Red River Shootout, Army, Navy. I mean, we can go to the FCS ranks and talk Brawl of the Wild.
Oh, that's true. We don't have to rank them.
Yeah, that's the nice thing.
That is the nice thing. We can just enjoy them all. But
backyard brawl, dude. West Virginia Pitt.
Yeah, you want to talk about hate?
Yeah.
But yeah, this game was finally. This is how the last couple games should have went for Ohio State. I feel like, and they finally, or at least the last one. So yeah, they end up smothering them. Vandy.
Yeah. Speaking of Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt 45-24. This was the Diego Pavia game. Diego Pavia just lit up the Volunteers. Incredible performance from that team. I think, Vandy 10-2. Like, I don't think they're going to get in, but they at least gave the committee something to think about with this win. Massive performance when you needed it. Really able to run the ball well. Cedric Alexander had a big game as well. This is a fun Vanderbilt offense. We've known that this year. It's always fun to watch Diego Pavia. He's just so scrappy back there. Kind of makes some dumb plays sometimes, but he more than makes up for it, especially in this one. Not much more to add. Vanderbilt is a legit good team.
Yeah,
and they have signed Clark Lea to that extension. So
there it is.
Commodores keeping him in Nashville.
Yeah, I think two things. Vanderbilt's second half, I think, was huge against Tennessee. And then just the ground game. Vanderbilt with Pavia, either designed or scramble. Man, he had 314 yards by himself. 165 on the ground. Cedric Alexander had 115 himself. Vandy rushed for 314. Pavia had 165 on the ground. Alexander had a 115. I think that's Tennessee's Achilles heel, just their defense.
Yeah.
Their defense has been put in positions where are they ever going to stop them? And they had 2 picks in this game. They had 2 picks, and Vandy still put up 45 on them. A huge win for Vandy. Rough spot for Tennessee.
Yeah. Sticking with the SEC, Alabama wins the Iron Bowl 27-20. This will never be a normal game. It's always
No,
chaotic.
never.
Always some weird things happening. Alabama jumps out to a big 17-0 lead, and Auburn just never really goes away, which you don't expect them to in this one. Not the best performance by Alabama, but they get out of there with a win, and that's kind of all you can hope for in the Iron Bowl when you have your postseason hopes on the line.
Yeah. Jay, this was 17-0. And I had a double bet with Auburn. I had Auburn 7.5, and then I also had my official was Auburn 4.5, which I lost. But this was 17-0. I'm like, oh, is Alabama just going to cruise here? And Auburn just hangs around, just keeps hanging around. Went for it. What's his name? Malcolm Simmons gets loose a couple times, and now you're looking at tie ball game, and Alabama drives the field, and then it's 4th and 2. And you're thinking, okay, are they going to kick the field goal? No, they go for the touchdown. They get it. Isaiah Horton, 3 touchdowns, Jay, for only 35 yards. Just Mr. Reliable in the red zone. And then at the end, costly fumble while Auburn is driving. Who knows if they would have converted or not. But again, this Iron Bowl is must-watch television every single time.
Yep, never fails. Moving on to scores from other games. Wednesday, Western Michigan punched their MAC championship with a win over Eastern Michigan, 31-21. Big for Western Michigan, obviously, to be in that championship game. Not one of the ones that we picked, Jake.
No, not one of the ones that we picked. Did you see Central Michigan fans showed up to the game?
I did not.
Yeah, Central Michigan fans were outside of the stadium, I believe, rooting for Eastern Michigan.
To try to give them a chance to
get into it. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. On Thanksgiving, Navy beats Memphis after shutting them out in the second half. I had the over in this one, and Memphis just royally screwed me. 28-17 for the midshipmen. Jay, Eli Heidenreich makes 100% of every 50-50 ball.
He's a weapon.
He is an absolute weapon. Tash also had a touchdown for Navy. Really impressed with Navy's defense in the second half. That was the difference maker in this one.
Yeah, big win for Navy there. Thought they had a chance to get into the American, just didn't get any help in the other games. Still a really strong season for that squad. They'll go into the game against Army with a chance to get to 10 wins. Yep. Moving on to Black Friday, Iowa dominated Nebraska 40-16. This one wasn't close.
It was for a little bit, and then until it wasn't in the second half. Iowa just blew the doors off in the second half. Arizona wins the Territorial Cup 23-7. Tough way to end for Arizona State. They were kind of banged up all year.
Yeah, banged up. Jeff Sims in at quarterback. But how about Arizona, right? 9-3 after the really tough year for Brennan last year. Really great bounce back to see from Arizona. This was a ranked versus ranked matchup, so this is a fun one. Moving on, New Mexico beats San Diego State 23-17 in double overtime. Just a fantastic game. They rushed the field after kid steals a pylon. That was funny to see that video. But yeah, I mean, massive for the Lobos. It's just, we'll kind of talk about this with the Mountain West, but I really wish they would have gotten into the Mountain West Championship, given everything that they had. They have the win over UNLV. They had a win over San Diego State. That loss to San Jose State's probably going to haunt them for a while. No shame in losing to Boise State on the road. Yeah, it's just part of it. New Mexico, I think, was 6-0 at home for the first time since 1938. Great season. They have their first opportunity to get to 10 wins with the bowl game since 1982. So great year for the Lobos. Jason
Eck, just fantastic. They just signed him to a big deal, and my first thought, Jay, and I hate to say it, what major college football program is going to pay that buyout in 2 or 3 years? Because that's what I'm thinking.
He's a Wisconsin guy. So
yep. Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl 38-19. A a little chippy. It's the Egg Bowl. There's always going to be a fight. You want to talk about great rivalries? This is another one. You would like these two teams do not like each other one bit. Mississippi State kept it close. Ole Miss just kind of took advantage. It was tough for Mississippi State to kind of get their offense going in the second half.
Yeah, Ole Miss just has more talent. They're a more cohesive team at this stage. Mississippi State still just kind of trying to build up, but they kept it kind of competitive for a while, and Ole Miss just pulls away at the end. Moving on to Saturday, Miami thrashes Pitt. What did you make of the fade with 31 seconds left to go, or whatever it was, to go from 31-7 to 38-7?
I don't love. I'm going to be honest. I don't love it. I really don't.
But
I laughed. I did laugh. I don't love it, but Miami is playing for a chance at the college football playoff. Style points do matter. I hate that they matter, but they do matter. So I understand what they're going for there. But I think the more impressive stat here, 6 tackle for losses for Miami's defense, 4 sacks. They pressured Heischel like all day. And I think that was the huge difference maker in that one. But yeah, Miami, Pitt could not recapture that same I can't think of
moxie.
That moxie, that swagger that they had against Georgia Tech. I feel like they were in a letdown game. And also, every time Miami plays, and again, I'm a Dolphins fan, anytime they play up north and there's snow, they just look freezing. I don't know why. They always look cold, especially in the all whites, but no, Miami squashes Pitt in that one. Clemson wins the Palmetto Bowl 28-14. South Carolina's inability to run the ball was the major difference in this one. Also, Clemson had 5 sacks. So Clemson, this one, I was glad I got this one right on all ends.
Yeah, offensive line really struggled for South Carolina this year. It reared its head again. Clemson, disappointing year for them as well, but at least they're going to a bowl game. South Carolina has to sit at home. Oklahoma narrowly escapes LSU 17-13 in Norman. The offense was a little bit sketchy for the Sooners, but that defense is top tier. No surprise to see Oklahoma come through on the defensive side of the ball. That'll be what carries them, I think, into the postseason.
Yep. Oregon closes out Washington after a late Husky comeback. It was 26-14. Huskies hung around. Oregon goes up. Huskies try to come back, falls short. I'm surprised Jed Fish isn't getting more of a look. I know they lost, but in the whole coaching carousel thing, like I feel like Jed Fish is a name to keep your eye on the next year or two. Washington has been getting better, but this is a good win for Oregon on the road.
Yeah, always tough to beat a rival on the road, so you take what you can get there. And then the Calgorithm knocks off SMU. SMU is out of the ACC championship, courtesy of this loss. Their playoff hopes are gone. And all of a sudden, Duke, 7-5 Duke is in the ACC championship. But man, what a way for Cal to close out the season. Dead cat bounce.
It's the good old, we just got our coach fired. We're going to play great football. It never, Jay, I mean, it does fail sometimes, but I felt like those Cal players, just how Justin Wilcox was there for a while, that they were going to play loose and end up knocking off SMU in Dallas, correct?
I'm not sure where this game was. Let me double check that.
Maybe not. Was it at home?
I don't know.
No,
it's somewhere on one of the coasts, right?
It was on any coast.
It was at Cal. So
it was at Cal.
This was in Berkeley. Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay, Jay, let's talk about who is in the hunt. You already mentioned the ACC. SMU is out. Now we have this weird Vernage a trois, so to speak. Duke, Virginia, and Miami. Duke and Virginia are going to be playing for the ACC championship. However, Miami is probably the favorite to go to the playoff.
I believe there's a scenario. If Duke wins the ACC, I don't think they go to the playoff.
No.
I think that should Duke beat Virginia, Duke would not be in the playoff. If Virginia wins, Virginia's in the playoff. Miami, I think, will be in no matter what. Like I'm going to say Miami's in.
Okay.
Because you look at some of the other programs kind of floating around there. I just feel like Miami has a better path. I mean, who knows what can happen? We'll dive into the preview, but I think Miami's in. I think UVA's in if they win. And I think Duke is out no matter what at 7-5.
So, yeah, I think Duke is out no matter what. I think if you're a Miami fan, you're rooting for Duke. Because if Duke wins, they're not going to go, and that would eliminate Virginia. And then Miami, I think, is a definite in. Do you think?
I don't necessarily think the ACC championship has a factor on Miami getting in or not, right? Because you're going to have a champion no matter what. It's the 5 highest champions. So, like, then it would just pivot to the Sun Belt or maybe a different scenario, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Okay. Big 12, the champion, Texas. Do you think if BYU beats Texas Tech, is Texas Tech still in?
Yes. I think the Big 12 is a 2-bid league if BYU wins this game, just because of the strength of what Texas Tech has done so far this year. If you're one of the teams on the bubble, you are hoping that Texas Tech wins.
Yes.
You do not want to see BYU get that automatic berth, because I do think Texas Tech at this stage is in no matter what.
Yep. If Texas Tech wins, BYU's out.
Correct.
Yes. But if BYU beats them, which I don't think they're going to, but if Texas Tech wins, BYU's done. BYU wins, Texas Tech should still be in.
Yes.
Oh, this is
all aboard on that.
This is going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Big Ten. I think the Big Ten is set.
Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. That's it. No one else in.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter how any of those games go. I don't think it matters if Ohio State kills Indiana or vice versa. I think they're both in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is when things get crazy. A&M is in. Georgia and Bama is Bama in?
I think so, but this is where it gets tough to penalize a team for losing a championship.
Exactly. And the committee has said they won't do that.
Yeah. And if they're true to their word, Bama is locked in then. I think Ole Miss is also locked in with 1 loss, no matter what. Georgia, same situation as Bama, essentially, right? Like, you're not going to get punished if you lose. You're not going to get knocked out of the playoff. So A&M, Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss locked in based on what the committee has said.
Oklahoma,
I think, is in. Who knows what the committee's going to say? You obviously have the head-to-head loss to Texas, but you have 1 less loss overall.
Right.
And your losses are better, right? Like, you don't have a Florida loss thrown in there.
Right.
I think Texas is out. I just don't think with 3 losses, with the amount of 2-loss teams and 1-loss teams you have this year, I don't think Texas gets in. I think Vanderbilt has a better chance of getting in than Texas does at this stage.
Oh, wow. So here's the thing, and Sark has said this. Are you going to penalize Texas for going to Ohio State in week 1 for that loss? And you're already shaking your head. Say what you're going to say, because I feel like you and I are going to say the same thing.
You're getting penalized for the loss to Florida. You're not getting penalized for the loss to Ohio State.
Right. If you're still 10-2, if they're still 10-2, you still have that ugly loss to Florida. Yeah. And you got kind of handled by Georgia as well.
Yeah, you would be fine with just the losses to Georgia and Ohio State, even though you got handled by Georgia.
Right.
Like, if you lose to Georgia and Ohio State, you are a 2-loss team and you have some great wins and you're in the playoff. Don't lose to Florida.
Right.
And I recognize there's some bias here on my part.
Yeah,
I do. But I think that Texas is being penalized more for that Florida loss than the Ohio State or the Georgia loss.
Yeah. And again, some coaches, cough, cough, James Franklin, has said in the past, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to be scheduling high-profile non-conference games if you already play 9 conference games. You shouldn't do it. And other coaches have said it, and they're called cowards and frauds and everything. That's kind of where we are right now. You could say you have the moral high ground, but that's kind of the world we live in, because this committee isn't going to care about your strength of schedule. If you're 9-3, that's all they're going to see is 9-3. They're going to keep you out. You get what? And that's a shame, because we should want those things.
Yeah.
We should want high profile. But now that the expanded playoff, that's why I kind of laughed when people said, oh, well, we're going to expand the playoff. We're going to see more of these out of conference games. No, you're not. You're going to see less of them, because everyone's going to want to have double-digit wins at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then you're splitting hairs. But yeah, I hate to say this, but I think Vandy's being Vandy also does not help them. And that's a shame.
I agree.
That's a shame. So you're thinking Ole Miss is not going to get penalized for the lane situation?
If they get penalized, it would be like a drop from wherever they are to still in the playoff.
Because you can't keep them out at 11-1.
No.
You can't. Cannot do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jay, I just want to let you know. Who said in the beginning of the year 5 SEC teams are getting in?
I believe that was you.
That was the guy. I said. You and Pablo both were like, oh, come on, 4, 5? I'm like, yes.
In
5.
fairness, nobody saw A&M going 11-1. So
no, I did. Hey. Who said they were come up? Who said they were going? You
did call them to the playoff, though.
I said 10-2. I did say 10-2. I can't. All right.
And then Notre Dame's in.
Notre Dame. This is a team that I think should. Now here comes my bias. They played 2 high-profile games all year. They lost them both. I don't think. I don't think they should be in.
The USC win, I think, is good.
It is. The USC win is good. That is a good win. Yes.
The Boise State win is decent, not great, not good. But yeah, I mean, it's join a conference, cowards.
But the thing is, Jay, they played 2 high-profile games a year. They played a top 5 team in A&M. They lost. Admirable. It was at home, though. Correct.
1 point.
And then they went on the road to Miami and lost to Miami. Notre Dame should.
It was a 1-score game on the road.
I know, but like,
who are you putting in over Notre Dame? Are you putting Texas with their 9-3 over? Because I think Notre Dame and Miami should both be in.
All right, let's do math here. All right. Miami. So let's just say Virginia and Miami are in. Okay.
All right.
Let's just say Texas Tech. Texas Tech beats BYU. There's 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're up to 6 after the Big Ten. Okay. So now we're at 6. So now we have 5 SEC teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at 11.
And you have to have the American champ as 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's out.
I guess Miami would be the team that would get kicked for Notre Dame.
No. Miami goes in. Or, Jay, or if Virginia beats, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're rooting for Duke. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you're rooting for Duke.
See, I don't think that affects the Miami case at all. No. Because I think if this is the only scenario I see happening is if Duke beats Virginia, then you have 2 group of 5 teams in as your conference champions.
Not just the American. So
it would be the American and likely James Madison, but I want to talk to you a little bit about chaos theory here.
I think Notre Dame's out. I think Notre Dame is out in this scenario. I don't think they're in.
We'll see. We'll see what the committee says.
They're going to put them in. They're going to put them in. It's Notre Dame.
I would put Miami in based off the head-to-head.
They have
if I had to pick between those 2, and I think those are the last 2 at large. I would put Notre Dame in, or
They
I would put
have to.
Miami in over Notre Dame, but
You have
I
to
don't
put
think the
them in.
committee does that. I
You
don't think they
have
do it.
to.
I just don't
Do
think it's going to happen.
the games need to matter.
Speaking of the games mattering, let's go into the group of five, because I feel like we could argue about this all night. So you have the American is probably guaranteed to be the fifth if chaos doesn't happen with the ACC. So I think, the winner of North Texas Tulane is in no matter what.
Yep.
There is a chaos scenario again. If Duke beats Virginia, I think James Madison is in as your fifth champ. I think James Madison will be ranked higher than Duke.
Mm-hmm.
Scenario, Jake.
Okay.
Duke beats Virginia. James Madison loses in the Sun Belt Championship. I think the Mountain West winner could possibly sneak their way into this game, either Boise State or UNLV being ranked higher than Duke.
Either of them?
I think UNLV has a better chance because they have 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
Boise State's 8-4. But I mean, do you want 7-5 Duke in the playoff?
No. So wait, hang on. Oh, because
The top 5 conference champions automatically qualify.
Okay. I know this is going to be hard for me. Big 12, Big 10, SEC. So there's your 3.
Yes.
And then
the ACC would be 4th if it's Virginia.
Right.
But the American's going to be 4th if it's Duke.
And Notre Dame cannot take
a conference championship spot.
It's going to be oh my God.
But if James Madison loses, I don't think they put Troy
they won't put Troy
in the playoff.
James,
so I think it would be the Mountain West champion in that case.
And we've been kind of talking about that for a while, and then we kind of last week was the first week we're like, yeah, it's over.
And then it happened.
Yeah. Boise. I don't know if Boise gets it. But again, Boise at 8-5 or 9-4 looks better than Duke.
Yeah.
So UNLV, I think if you're the Mountain West, you got to hope UNLV wins.
I mean, realistically, the scenario is Virginia beats Duke, and we don't have to worry about any of this. Or if Duke beats Virginia, James Madison wins, and it's a moot point because James Madison is the obvious.
Which I love because I think James Madison deserves a shake.
Yeah.
But again, if two group of fives go in, Jay, who
the ACC champ is left out.
So then,
again, this only happens if it's Duke.
That's right. If it's Duke, that is correct. Yep. Okay. Notre Dame should be in. That's the last thing.
All right. Well, let's get into the FCS now.
Yeah, talk about FCS, Jay.
So the first round matchups are done. We move on. Illinois State beats Southeastern 21-3. Illinois State will now travel to North Dakota State. Good season, Illinois State.
Hey, Brock's back, baby.
Powerful stash.
Yep.
Rhode Island beats Central Connecticut 27-19. Rhode Island will travel to UC Davis. Villanova smacks Harvard 52-7. Villanova will travel to Lehigh. That's a little PA battle. That'll be a fun one.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, they're like 30 some minutes away from each other.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good
Love
one.
to see it. North Dakota beats Tennessee Tech 31-6. North Dakota heads to Tarleton State in Stephenville. South Dakota State thrashes New Hampshire 41-3. South Dakota State will head to Montana. Drake falls 17-38. They got Fetty whopped by South Dakota. South Dakota will travel to Mercer. Abilene Christian beats Lamar 38-20. Abilene Christian will head to Stephen F. Austin. Jake, I will be in attendance at this one.
Yeah.
I do the other pod with Dave Campbell's for specifically A&M football. I will be the FCS correspondent on the scene in Nacogdoches, Texas, behind the pine curtain to watch a fantastic football game between two great Texas FCS programs. A rematch from earlier in the season, by the way. Abilene Christian beat Stephen F. Austin 28-20. So this will be a fun one for sure. And then we have to talk about this one. Yale with an incredible comeback, down 35-7 at half. They were down 42-14 with 7:37 left in the third quarter. Yale comes back to win 43-42. Their reward is to head to Bozeman and take on Montana State. But still, just a fantastic comeback performance by Yale. You have to hand it to them. No quitting those dogs.
No. Hugh, that is a huge win for Yale and for the Ivy League because it was looking rough.
Yeah.
At the start of those couple games, like, wow, our Ivy League's teams are getting smoked. And they fought their way back. I was shocked, like absolutely shocked when I saw that final score. Like, absolutely could not believe it. I don't know how they're going to fare against Montana State.
Probably not well. Probably not well in Bozeman. But still going to be a fantastic week of FCS matchups. So tune into those. Jake, let's get into championship week.
Yeah. But really quick, my Pennsylvania people, Lehigh versus Villanova, tune in. Okay. I know I got some people on the east side of Pennsylvania that listen. Support your local FCS programs. There we go. There's my plug.
There we go.
Championship week, Jay, Conference USA, Kennesaw State, the darling of the Conference USA, goes to Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is a 1.5 point favorite right now, over under set at 58.5. I'm going to go with Jack State just because they've been there before. They know this. It's routine for them. Kennesaw, not saying the lights are going to get too bright, but I'm saying it's just new for them. Jacksonville State, I like it.
Jacksonville State hosting is the difference maker for me in this one. I'm taking the Gamecocks as well.
Troy at James Madison. The line is minus 21.5 for James Madison, over under 47.5. That's a big line. Give me Troy to cover. That's a lot of points. Give me Troy to cover.
Yeah, James Madison will win this one. I do think Troy covers. Great turnaround, by the way, for Gerard Parker. I kind of had written him off after last year for Troy to get to the Sun Belt Championship game. Great performance there. But I'm taking James Madison to win outright. And I think the Dukes have a shot at getting into the playoff. We'll see.
Yep. North Texas at Tulane. This, I think, is the game, probably the game of Friday night. You have two programs here that are, North Texas kind of came out of nowhere with Eric Morris. Tulane has been, kind of the FBS team to beat over the last couple of years or close to it. I like North Texas here. I'm going to go North Texas minus 2.5. Or I think I'm going to hit that also with over 66.
Yeah, give me the Mean Green.
Yeah, I like the Mean Green as well. Sorry, John Summerall, but we're going Eric Morris today. Which Eric Morris is coaching still, correct?
They are both coaching through the season, through the playoff if they make it.
Good. And then UNLV at Boise State. Boise State is a 3.5 point favorite. What? Boise State at 8 wins is the 3.5 point favorite. New Mexico gets kind of the short end of the stick there.
I want to talk about that for a second because we didn't talk about what happened here specifically. So New Mexico beat San Diego State to close out the season. San Diego State had one loss at the time, one conference loss at the time, and New Mexico pulls it off. Utah State, coached by Bronco Mendenhall, who left New Mexico after 1 year, has a chance to kick a field goal in the third quarter that would have put Utah State up by, I think it would have been 27-19 at the time. They elect to go for it on fourth down instead. It was a short field goal. Boise State comes back to win the game. It's not just the fact that New Mexico got shafted. Because if Utah State had won that game, New Mexico's in the Mountain West Championship. So they got screwed over by their old coach because he didn't want to kick a field goal.
What was the score?
It was 25-24 was the final. At the time the field goal would have been kicked, it would have gone to 27-19.
With how much time?
It was in the third quarter.
Oh, okay. No, he did not. Well, I mean,
he didn't do it on purpose. No, I'm not saying that. But it pisses me off for New Mexico that happened.
Yeah.
It's like, God.
Oh. I thought this was like fourth quarter stuff.
No.
Like, that would have been. You want to talk about drama?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was a little skeptical about what happened. You are the Mountain West representative here.
I do love those mountains, and I do love that West.
Yes. So UNLV at Boise State. I'm going to go Boise State.
Yeah, I'm taking Boise State. They've already played once this year. It's going to be on the Smurf turf up there in Boise. I don't see a different scenario taking place. Boise rolls again.
Yep. Saturday, BYU at Texas Tech. Texas Tech minus 13.5, over under 50.5. I'm not going to bet on this game at all, but this game is an elimination game for BYU.
Yeah, give me the under in this one, 50.5. I think that Texas Tech defense is going to have another strong performance. BYU is a solid defense as well. Texas Tech is going to get the job done. They'll win by 2 scores. I don't know if 13.5 is going to get covered, but I will take the under.
Yep. MAC, we got MACtion on Saturday. Miami of Ohio at Western Michigan. Jay, you want to talk about teams getting screwed? Ohio kind of gets screwed here. Same record as Miami of Ohio. They have the head-to-head, but with tiebreakers, and I think it was a 3-way tie, if I'm not mistaken. Miami of Ohio ends up getting in this one.
Yeah.
Western Michigan is a 2.5-point favorite, over under 43.5. I like Miami of Ohio to win here. I'm taking plus 2.5 Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami of Ohio too. It's kind of going back to that, been there, done that before. Feels like Miami of Ohio is always around this game. I like the Red Hawks here.
Western hasn't been in a while. It's been a little bit.
Was it PJ Fleck probably, huh?
I was just going to say, yeah, PJ Fleck days. Georgia takes on Alabama. Alabama 1.5-point dogs, over under 47.5. Alabama wins the SEC again. Give me Crimson Tide.
Who's that coming down the track, Jake? It is the Georgia Bulldogs. I think it's tough to beat the same team twice in one season. And let's be honest here, Georgia plays in Atlanta so much. Might as well be a second home for them. Give the Bulldogs this one. They're going to get the revenge.
Indiana takes on Ohio State, over under 48.5. These teams did not play each other in the regular season. Ohio State minus 5.5.
Yeah. Ohio State's defense is just too good. I think they're going to be able to shut down Mendoza and company. I like the Buckeyes here.
Yeah. I don't think Mendoza is going to be quick enough to handle that Ohio State speed. I mean, again, he struggled against Penn State. You got better dudes on Ohio State. And they're deeper. That's the other thing. Ohio State is just so much deeper that I think that's gonna. If this game is close, I could see Ohio State taking a extension lead in that second half. And then the game I think we're all waiting for, the game that will breed chaos, or will it be a little bit easier for the Canadians?
Yeah, it's the ACC lacrosse championship, Duke versus Virginia.
Like we all had it in the beginning.
Yeah, like we all had it. No, listen, I'm going chaos. Give me Duke money line. James Madison sneaks in the playoff because of this game.
Hang on a second. Duke, Virginia. Didn't Virginia beat them by like 2 touchdowns? They did. Why is this game two? Why is Virginia only favored by 2.5?
Something smells, Jake.
You know what? I'm taking the cheese. I'm taking the cheese. I'm taking Virginia. There is no way. And usually, Jay, I take Duke. I would say this smells. It stinks to me. Give me Duke. But no, I'm taking the cheese. I hope I do not get my hand pinched in the trap. Virginia minus 2.5.
And that's a wrap on this episode. We had a ton to talk about between the coaching carousel, the games that happened last week, the championships, the FCS, so much college football still going on. I know we're coming to the end of the season, but we do appreciate each and every one of you who tune in on a weekly basis. We appreciate all your support. Do all the things that help us grow as a podcast. Give us those likes, subscribe, 5-star reviews, tell a friend. Word of mouth still works. Yeah, Jake, I got to be honest with you. I think I'm feeling the effects of this season. I feel like I need to get a week of recovery. I need a bye week. But we don't take 1 week off because we love you. So, Jake, well, let's go ahead and sign off.
Yes. From all of us at the Get Back Coach, enjoy this, my friends. Championship week, a wonderful week. You can watch all the games, give all the conferences all of your attention.